Have you ever met someone who wasn't the richest, wasn't the most handsome, wasn't the funniest person in the room, but somehow people just couldn't stop thinking about them? You look at them and think, what is it about this person? They're not even trying, and somehow everyone wants to be around them. Now here's the funny part. We've all tried the opposite. We've tried dressing better, finding the perfect words, texting at the right time, watching videos called How to Make Someone Chase You. Come on, don't leave me hanging. If you've ever watched one of those videos at 2 a.m. after someone left you on red, congratulations. You're officially a member of the club. No judgment here. We've all been there. The funny thing is, love has never really followed a checklist. If it did, half of Hollywood would still be together, and your aunt, who has been happily married for 40 years, wouldn't still be telling your uncle he's impossible every Tuesday morning. Real love is weird, beautiful, confusing. Sometimes it arrives quietly. Sometimes it shows up wearing socks with sandals. Nobody sees it coming. And that's exactly what today's video is about. Not dating tricks, not manipulation, not pretending to be someone you're not. Instead, we're exploring two powerful ideas inspired by Carl Jung's way of understanding people. Ideas that might completely change the way you think about attraction. Because maybe people don't fall in love because you said the perfect thing. Maybe they fall in love because of how they feel when they're around the real you. And trust me, those are two very different things. So here's what I want you to do before we go any further. Jump into the comments and answer one question. Do you believe people fall in love with someone's looks, or with something much deeper? There's no wrong answer. I honestly want to know what you think. I'll be reading the comments. Now, let's talk about the first thing. And honestly, it's probably not what you expect. People don't fall in love with perfection. They fall in love with presence. Have you ever been talking to someone, and halfway through your story, you realize they're not listening at all? They're smiling, nodding, saying wow, but somehow they're also checking their phone, watching a bird, thinking about dinner, and probably wondering why squirrels run like they owe somebody money. We've all been there. You finish your story, and they go, "So, anyway." Excuse me? Did my story just disappear into another dimension? Now compare that with someone who gives you their full attention. They don't interrupt. They don't rush you. They aren't trying to impress you. They simply make you feel like, for those few minutes, you matter. Have you noticed something? You remember those people. Days later, months later, sometimes years later. Why? Because presence is rare. In today's world, attention has become more expensive than gold. Think about it. You can order food in minutes, watch thousands of movies, scroll through endless videos, but finding someone who actually listens, that's like finding fries at the bottom of the bag after you thought they were gone. Pure happiness. Carl Jung often explored the importance of becoming deeply aware of ourselves and others. When we're fully present, we're not performing, we're connecting, and people can feel that. Here's a funny story. A guy walks into a coffee shop. He sees someone he likes. He has spent 3 days practicing the perfect opening line. 3 days. He walks over confidently and says, "Do you come here often?" She says, "I work here." Game over. Sometimes trying too hard is exactly what gets in our way. Meanwhile, another customer simply smiles, says good morning, has a short, genuine conversation, leaves. No performance, no magic trick, just being real. Guess who she remembers? Exactly. People rarely remember your perfect words. They remember how comfortable they felt around you. That's why some people can tell the funniest jokes, have expensive clothes, drive impressive cars, and still struggle to build meaningful relationships because they're trying to be admired, not understood. There's a huge difference. Here's something funny to think about. Imagine your friend invites you over. You knock on the door. They open it, then spend the next 2 hours talking only about themselves. By the end, you're wondering, was I invited? Or was I just today's audience? We've all met that person. Don't point fingers. They might be sitting next to you. Actually, don't look. Keep watching. Now here's the beautiful part. Presence isn't about saying more. Sometimes it's about saying less, listening more, laughing together, being curious, asking, "So how did that make you feel?" Instead of, "Cool story. Now let me tell you about me." People are starving for genuine attention. And when someone finally gives it, it feels unforgettable. Let me tell you a little story. An elderly couple was asked the secret to staying happily married for over 50 years. The husband smiled and said, "I still listen to her stories." His wife laughed and interrupted, "He has heard them all at least 10 times. The husband shrugged. "They get better every year." Now that's funny, but there's wisdom hiding inside that joke. Love isn't built only through exciting moments. It's built through thousands of ordinary moments where two people choose to stay present. No fireworks, no dramatic movie music, just, "I'm here. I see you. I'm listening." That kind of presence is becoming so rare that when people experience it, they naturally want more of it. Think about someone you enjoy spending time with. I bet it isn't because they're perfect. It's because you feel relaxed around them. You don't have to perform. You don't have to impress them. You can laugh at yourself. You can accidentally wave back at someone who wasn't waving at you. And instead of dying from embarrassment, you both laugh until your stomach hurts. We've all done it. Don't pretend you haven't. Or when you confidently pull on a door, only to realize it says, "Push." Suddenly you're fighting the building. The door wins every time. Life is funny. And love grows inside those little human moments, not inside perfection. So here's a challenge. The next time someone is talking to you, put your phone away, look them in the eyes, really hear them. Not because you're trying to make them fall in love with you, but because that's what real connection looks like. Ironically, that's exactly what makes people remember you. And here's where things get really interesting, because if presence opens the door, the second idea determines whether someone feels safe enough to walk through it. And trust me, this next one might be even more powerful. So if the first thing was presence, the second one is the one almost nobody talks about. And honestly, it's the one that changes everything. The second thing. People fall in love where they feel safe to be themselves. Think about it. Have you ever met someone who made you feel like every sentence was an exam? You tell a story. They correct your grammar. You laugh. They ask why you're laughing. You share a dream. They explain why it probably won't work. By the end, you're thinking, "You know what? I'll just go home and talk to my dog." Even if you don't have a dog, you'll find one, because at least the dog won't judge you. Now compare that to someone who lets you breathe, someone you can laugh with, someone who doesn't make you feel like you have to earn their approval every 5 minutes. That's a completely different feeling. It's like taking off a backpack you didn't even realize was heavy. Jung believed that each of us has parts of ourselves we hide. We all have little fears, little insecurities, little moments where we think, if people really knew me, they probably wouldn't like me. But something amazing happens when someone quietly says, "I see you, and I'm still here." That's powerful. Not because they're pretending you're perfect, but because they don't expect perfection. Let me tell you a funny story. A man spent 2 hours getting ready for his first date. New shirt, new shoes, new haircut, practiced smiling in the mirror, even sprayed enough cologne to alert people in the next neighborhood. He arrives, sits down, orders water, gets nervous, knocks the entire glass onto himself. Water everywhere. The waiter jumps. The lady starts laughing. He starts laughing. For the next 2 hours, they joke about it. Years later, they're married. Not because of the expensive shirt, not because of the perfect hairstyle, but because after the awkward moment, neither of them pretended to be someone else. Sometimes the most attractive thing you can do is laugh at yourself. Seriously, life is already funny enough. You don't have to help it. Remember when autocorrect betrays you? You wanted to text, "I'm on my way." Instead it sends, "I'm a monkey." Now you're sitting there wondering, do I explain, or do I just become the monkey? We've all had those moments. And the people who laughed with us usually stay in our lives longer than the people who judge us. Here's another little story. An old man and his wife were grocery shopping. She asked, "Do you remember what we're here for?" He smiled. "No." She laughed. "I forgot too." So they bought ice cream. Honestly, that's not a bad backup plan. Sometimes love isn't about having all the answers. Sometimes it's about finding someone who doesn't mind getting lost with you. Someone who says, "We'll figure it out. Together." Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how children make friends? One kid walks over. "Want to play?" The other kid says, "Okay." 5 minutes later, they're best friends. Adults? Oh no. What if I sound weird? What if I say the wrong thing? What if they don't like me? Then we spend 6 months overthinking a conversation that lasted 3 minutes. We make life so complicated. Maybe love isn't asking us to become more impressive. Maybe it's asking us to become more genuine, because genuine people are relaxing to be around, and that's incredibly attractive. People don't usually remember who had the fanciest words. They remember who made them laugh until their stomach hurt, who remembered their birthday, who stayed when life got messy, who made ordinary Tuesdays feel special. That's the kind of connection that lasts. Not fireworks every day, just warmth, consistency, kindness, and lots of inside jokes. Because every great relationship has at least one joke that nobody else understands. The stranger hearing it thinks, "What are they laughing about?" Meanwhile, you're both crying with laughter over something that happened 5 years ago involving burnt toast. That's love. It's weird. It's wonderful. And honestly, it's supposed to be. So if you're trying to make someone fall in love with you, maybe stop asking, "How do I become more attractive?" and start asking, "How do people feel after spending time with me? Do they leave feeling lighter, safer, more accepted, more understood?" Because that's the part they remember. Long after they've forgotten what shirt you wore or what clever line you said, the feeling stays. And feelings have excellent memories. So let's put everything together. If today's conversation could be summed up in just 2 simple ideas, they would be these. First, be fully present. In a world where everyone is distracted, your attention is a gift. When someone feels truly seen, they never forget it. Second, create a space where people feel safe to be themselves. Not perfect, not impressive, just real. Because the strongest relationships aren't built on pretending. They're built on honesty, laughter, patience, and thousands of little moments that quietly say, "You don't have to perform around me." Maybe that's why the happiest couples still tease each other after 30 years. Why old friends can pick up right where they left off. Why family members can laugh about stories they've told 100 times. Love grows where people feel free, not where they feel judged. And if there's one thing inspired by Jung's ideas that stands out, it's this. The relationship you build with yourself shapes every relationship you build with others. When you're comfortable in your own skin, you stop chasing approval. You stop acting. You stop trying to be everyone's favorite person. Ironically, that's often when people are drawn to you the most. So here's my question for you. Which of these 2 do you think is more powerful? being fully present, or making someone feel safe to be themselves? I honestly can't wait to read your answers. Let's have a real conversation down in the comments. If this video made you smile, made you think, or reminded you of someone special, give it a like. Share it with someone who needs this reminder today. And if you enjoy these Carl Jung-inspired conversations about psychology, relationships, and becoming your best self, hit that subscribe button and join us. We're building a community where we grow together, laugh together, and remind each other that becoming a better person doesn't have to feel like homework. Until next time, take care of yourself, be kind, stay curious, and remember, the most unforgettable thing about you may never be your appearance. It may simply be the way people feel when they're lucky enough to be around you.